My water pump's not working, and I want to figure out why, so I'm going to take you with me. So for March break, we decided we were going to go winter camping, which it truly was. It snowed the whole time. It was horrible. We did not have fun. I think what happened was our pump picked up a piece of ice, and now it doesn't seem to be working. So I want to try and take it apart and go ahead and fix it. I may need to change this pump, I'm not sure, but I don't want to go out and buy a new pump if I can save the money and try and fix this one. So let's get to work. All right, well, the first thing we got to do, turn off the water, drain all the lines, then we'll fill up the tank. Don't forget, turn on the hot and the cold. While that fills up, let's go get everything else ready. I'm wondering if, now the issue is it's running and running and running. We want to build up pressure. Alright, I just think I'm better off taking this whole pump right off of here so I can have a better look at it. But I'm going to take this whole board. See, there's a board that it's hooked up to right there, as opposed to taking off these 4 screws. I'm going to take the whole board off. Is the pump itself burnt out? I'm going to go turn this back on and see what happens now that I can really see what's going on. So it is pumping water, just not much. Okay, so the most common thing is this cracks, this little plastic cup, and it leaks. Now I do not see any leak whatsoever. I'm gonna get in trouble from my wife because it's about to get water everywhere. Yeah. So there's nothing, and if you look in there, there's nothing really clogging that screen. There's a little bit of dirt. So I'm gonna go clean this and see what happens. Alright, I think it's time to really start digging this thing apart and see what's really wrong with it. Now, here's the important part. So you have your positive and your negative down here. I'm going to have to unplug it here. This is the positive from the bottom, and this is the positive coming in from the fuse. So, 10 amp fuse in to the top. You can do it. Don't make me get up and go get pliers. There. Alright. I lost my good pliers, so I guess I'll just use these until I find them. There. Okay. 10 amp on the top. I think we'll take this apart in the sink because it's probably full of water. Alright. Don't lose those. Keep them in a cup. So there's your pump. It's obviously turning. I don't feel any grinding in there. Set that aside. What could it be? So if you can read here, direction. What is in here? No. Be careful when you do this. I bet you that was the problem right there. That was stuck. Perfect. Alright, now that I know it's not going to leak any water, I might as well move somewhere with a brighter background for you. Okay, so what did we come up with? That there's a spring in here, and you probably shouldn't take this off if you're doing this, but I'm just winging it here. If you take the initiative to take it apart and just play with it in your hand for a little bit, 9 times out of 10 you can figure out what the problem is. We realized that it wasn't a leaky cup, it just wasn't building pressure. Now I think what was happening was, I believe it was this piece right here, because that was not, it was stuck. So I think releasing this, what happens is, as it builds up pressure, this opens and it allows the water to flow through. So it wasn't allowing the water in, through, and then the pump to pump it to allow it back out the out. That is what I think was the problem. But we're going to put it all back together because there's nothing here that looks like it can be moved. So I think we'll just put it back together and we'll see what happens. Now putting this back together, see how there's a flat spot there? There's also a flat spot on here. You have to line them up like that. Beautiful. Make sure that they have the washers on there. Now you want to do corner to corner in a star-like pattern when tightening these, and don't tighten them too hard. Oh, come on. Your first time around, they weren't that tight, so we're not going to tighten them up too tight, but we do want to do a corner to corner. So when you do a corner to corner, what that does is it pulls that cap evenly so it doesn't jam and get all twisted up in there and damage any of the seals. So we just kind of more or less finger tight. Like that. Alright, now we just want to give it that last little tighten. Oh, I missed one. Just like that. Okay. Just as roughly as tight as you think it was when you took it apart. No tighter. You don't have to reef it down. There we go. Just enough to compress that seal. That's all. And there you go. Okay. Now, it was 10 amp at the top. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a connector. Or my wire strippers with me, which normally I would, but I just came home from work and I was hellbound and determined to get this fixed today. You know how it goes sometimes. So, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to stop and get a connector. Get these on correctly. For now, we're just going to test it. And tomorrow, I will bring what I need home from work. So, it's only 10 amp, but I don't like how they have that. Fan them out like this, like that. Stick them like that, and then whirl it. Since this is just temporary for tonight. 10 amp on the top. There. Come on. There we go. It was in there this way. So, let us put it back this way. I think this pump is pooched. Do we have any water? Nothing. It's trying, but it doesn't want to pump. I think all I did out of all of that was just prove that that pump is pooched. So I think I'm gonna have to go get a new one. Damn. I ended up getting this from the RV store, and I paid a little bit of extra money for it because, well, it's from the RV store. Now I know that you can buy these on Amazon for $89 at the time of filming this in 2023. The issue with that is I'm going camping in a few days and I need to get this problem fixed. I believe what happened is there's a tear in the diaphragm, and that's not allowing the pump to pump water like it should. The other issue that it could be is my daughter likes to flip the switch on when we're not paying attention while we're hooked up to pressurized shore water, if you will. Now, I don't know if that did it, or when we were winter camping at March break, I was having troubles with ice building up, and it was a constant battle with water freezing and pipes freezing and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if I managed to pick up a piece of ice and it went up into the pump and ripped the diaphragm, or if it's from my daughter turning it on when I'm not looking. but I'm going to fix that problem. I also bought this switch while I was in the RV store, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to hook this up. So now you're going to have to throw this switch on, and then you're also going to have to throw this switch on in order for the pump to work. Let's get this thing swapped out. First things first. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take it off one more time, swap it over. Okay. That's that. Okay, now sorry about the lighting, but that's all I have. I'm in my trailer, as you can see. Here's the pump, and I managed to snag some wire off of a car, so it's, we'll have a little extra self-priming. Now I checked all the specs on this pump, and it is exactly the same as that pump. So with any luck, this should be quick and painless. Let's see, can you read all that? There you go. We just want this. Now, I noticed that this is still perfectly good. So I'm gonna keep it. Because why throw it away? I might need this one day. Apparently this cup is something that can crack and can cause you problems right from the word go. So we took that off of that side. We're going to put it right onto this side. That way there's no confusion. Just hand tight, nothing too tight. You don't want to crack it or cross thread it or bind up the threads from over tightening it. The top went to the fuse, which is different on this one. Okay, so this would have to go to the fuse. See, on this one goes here. That's interesting. Hopefully that doesn't mess us up. The only thing we can do is give it a go. Right. If we don't try, we will never know. If we don't succeed, we'll go to plan B. What's that 80s saying? Whoa! But what's plan B, right? I wish I had a little more time, because there's a bird's nest of hoses in that cabinet, and it's driving me nuts because I have the PEX adapters, the fittings, the clamps, the crimps, the cutter, the everything, because I did my house not too long ago. I can fix it, it's just I don't have time because we're going camping in a few days and there's no water hookups, so I need this pump to work. Okay, so there's your ground and there's your power. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to need me a little more room. Okay. If you look at this, it says to the load, positive, ground. So I want this switch to be up, to be on. So this would be the load, which is the pump, and then your positive coming in, and then your black, which is your ground. So in order to do that, what I would like to do is take a little bit of this. Do I need that much wire? You know what? For now, yes. Now this is only 10 amps, so my concern that this wire, which normally I would be So I'd never like to go to a smaller gauge wire. If I have the option, I always go to a larger gauge, because you can risk a fire by running too much load through this. But I'm not really concerned about it because it's only 10 amps. And this wire is not that much smaller than the original. Let's just make sure that that will fit on there nicely. Beautiful. Okay. If you can see it, I know this is going to be very tricky, but there is just the tiniest little metal shroud in there. And we just want to get it in there and turn at the same time. Yep, see, it came through. Perfect. Right. Now, see how it says 22 to 18? Push this. What we want is this to push in the center. You want it to push the center of that in. There we go. Nice. And then you can also squeeze it a bit like this. Now that's not going to come off. We want that there. Okay. Okay. Now that we have all this done and ready to hook up, we're going to set it aside for a second. Okay, so now, through my life experiences, I've learned one thing. When I'm changing this part over, instead of adding that switch and all that other mumbo jumbo, I'm just going to hook the pump up first, make sure that that works, then install the switch. That way, if there's a problem, I know it's the pump and the new system, not anything to do with the switch. Flow that way, which is correct. The one thing I always like to do is kind of turn it back until you can feel that bounce and seat itself into the threads correctly before tightening up, especially with plastics. Okay. What do you mean? Here, I'll show you. What I do is I take it and I go backwards, holding it nicely. Now I'll go forward. And that is a good way to not cross-thread plastics, because once you cross-thread plastics, your day is about done. Just lock your toolbox and go home. Tell the boss, not feeling well. Okay, perfect. There's my ground, there's my positive. Positive, ground, ground. Okay. Let's send that through there. Now, there's no rule that says you should do this, but I always like to hook up my positive first. And this is just very temporary to make sure that this pump will indeed work. Right? Okay, success! Now that I know that that works, the pump is creating pressure, awesome, let's hook up that switch. You know what? Before we get too crazy, let's finish mounting this. Oh, come on. now that that's in there, we can take our ground and hook it up nice. You want to make sure that your wires are not all tangled up and nasty. Like, look at this bird's nest. This is driving me nuts. I could make that so much better and prettier, but I just do not have the time. But look, that fits in there nicely. See how that pretty much tells me which one I need to use? So that's our ground. And we also want the ground on this side. Stick that in there. Can we go one more? There we go. The best way to think of this is I want my power there, which would be the very end. So this goes to my pump. Just like that. This one, hopefully, this blue will fit. Okay. Load, power. We want it on the opposite end of this fuse, just like this. Now this is where you really want to take a second to make sure that everything is nice and somewhat tidy, because if you don't right now and you have it all spaghetti, it won't look good. And if you ever need to move this pump again in the long run, what'll happen is it'll end up messing you up. I'm just gonna do this, so hopefully you can see what's up. Load, power in, ground. We're just gonna leave it off, right? Let's go turn on this switch over here, and nothing should happen. Okay, so I did that backwards. No, I did it right. Yeah, I just had my switch upside down in my head. I had the switch, how the switch works, upside down in my head. Well, hopefully we're building some pressure. This one is way quieter. The pump should be going off by now. I wonder what's going on. Why isn't it building pressure? Now that I've done all that, I've come into another problem. It seems as though my pump isn't getting any water at all. So, troubleshooting is fun. We know that it's not the pump is pumping. There's it's the switch is working, it's pumping in the right direction. These are all things we know. Now there's a clear can here, and you can clearly see that it is not getting any water at all. As I am pumping, you should see water flowing through this can here. And I'm not getting any water through that can. It should be full of water. Now I am getting water. There's no denying that. But it is not building pressure. There's no water building up in this can. And it is not shutting off. So, what are my options now? So what do we do now? We've determined that everything is good except for water getting to the pump. So I consulted a Facebook group called RV Full-Time Living, and I asked the question about what's going on here, and it seems to be the consensus that more than likely what has happened is I've picked up something to block the line from the tank to the pump. Somewhere in there there's a blockage. So there is 2 lines here. See them? 1 and 2. They come in here, they go down through here and into the pump, and then up to the filter, and away it goes to everywhere in your RV, your water heater, and so forth. So one of these 2 lines has to be plugged or close to plugged. So how do I fix that? Well, it's time to get serious and pull out some PEX tools. So this is what I have here. I have the crimpers, the cutters, some Teflon tape, and the connectors in order to fix this problem. I've also gone and picked up my compressor so that I can blow out these lines. So what I'll do is I'll hook up the blowgun, and as you can see, I've taken, this is off of an old truck door. It's just a rubber bump stop. So I've taken that off of there so that I can get a good seal around the hose. What I intend to do is to blow that line out. Once I get this and this connection crimps, off of there, I'm going to hook up my blowgun and blow out these 2 lines that I believe go back to the freshwater tank. Hopefully that'll get rid of any gook that is plugging them up. I've gotten the pump out of my way. Let's take these. Now you can use a knife, but this is worth buying. I bought mine as a kit. These connectors are not fun. Good luck. Sometimes you can get away with cutting them, but usually something in, there's that end there, and if you can get in there and lift that up, they usually just unclick. Now, it's not fun. Be careful. You might be able to get a flat-headed or standard screwdriver in there, but the odds of you hurting yourself are very high. I hate to admit it. There we go. It's starting. Now I can hopefully grab it with these side snips. There's probably an easier way to do these. If anybody knows, please comment, because I can never get these off right. There we go. See? Yay. I win. Alright, now that we've got that all taken care of, we take our handy dandy blowgun and hopefully this unclogs it. I can hear it bubbling. Oh, 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 oh. Okay, well, we know there's water in that one then. Wait for that to calm down. I can hear some. This one you can hear bubble. I know where that one goes. This one goes to the water miser. So we know now that this is the water tank, water miser. So it's supposed to, as the water gets hot, comes through here, and then it would loop back in and go to the tank or back to the pump. One of the two. Okay, good to know. Could it be as simple as that water miser's broken? And it's sucking air through the water miser. Could it be as simple as that? That might be my problem. I might have a crack in the water miser and it's drawing air from there instead of sucking from the tank. Now that I know that the tank line is clear, what I want to do is I want to drain that tank, and then I'm going to use my filtered water and fill that back up. Hopefully there's no gook on the bottom of my tank. Get rid of that, clear that out, and then fill it back up. So I have my handy dandy assistant, and we'll see if we can figure it out. Alright, Mom, hit it. Oh.
Keep going?
Yeah. Hit it. Okay. So there's definitely a crack right in there. Oh, I can feel it. I think I solved the mystery. The water miser has a crack in it, okay? So there's a hose there that returns the hot water from the water miser. So as you're waiting for the water to heat up, it's supposed to cycle it back into the freshwater tank so you're not wasting water and putting it into your gray water tank.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a crack in that. As the pump is drawing water from our fresh water tank, it has that crack in the water miser tank, so it can't get the suction required to pull from the hot water, from the fresh water tank. Therefore, it's not drawing any water. Ah, eureka!
Okay, so what's the fix? Can you disconnect the water miser?
I can plug it.
You can plug it.
Plug it. Plug it in. Plug it in. Bippity boppity boop. We never use the water miser anyway. It's useless. It's completely useless. By the time you run it all, cycle it through, the half a gallon, the gallon of water, it's no big deal.
Whatever.
Just plug it.
Fine with that.
That's what I gotta do. Alright, let's just double check. So this is the one that's gonna get the plug because I can hear the air going into, oops, the bathroom. Okay. Everything's so tight. There we go. Good enough. And that's why I like PEX. I think the problem is my patience is end up going camping tomorrow, so I'm trying to also pack the trailer. Good enough. See how it's kind of in the way? Let's move it out of the way. No big deal. Like that. So the switch is out of the way nicely. Okay. There we go. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. So after all of that, it finally works. That was the problem. It was the water miser the whole time. So I went ahead, I changed the whole pump. I tried diagnosing all of these things. It took me way longer than what it should. But we have it hooked up finally. I plugged the water miser just so in case somebody uses it, water doesn't shoot out of here. This goes to the tank. I can still winterize everything, and then I have my switch if Lori decides to turn the other one off. It's a double switch now. Now I don't know if that other pump, my original pump, the factory one, is actually broken or not, but I decided I'm going to keep this one because it's way quieter than the other. Now, let's listen to it. Still have a little bit of water in the lines. Oh, wait a minute. There's your problem. But shuts off, and that's all that matters. So I have some air to bleed out of the lines, but I can go camping tomorrow and I'll be good. Alright, good luck in all your ventures. Oh, you squeezed? Yeah, you're crimped too. Son of a bitch. I gotta eat some dinner. My hands are shaking. Remember, if you're gonna do this, make sure to cut towards your fingers, because that's the safest way to do it. Now, I put the other screw in here the other day. Where did it go? Was it in here that I set it so Lori wouldn't get her hands on it? Settle down, they said. Quit your ways, Barry, they said. Have a family, they said. Little kid would be a joy, they said. Little footsteps running around, they said. It'll be fun, they said. What the heck did she... Oh, I hit it on myself. I take it all back. Give you guys a good angle of my big belly. We need ground to the ground to the ground. Wiggle it just a little bit. Hi, Mom.
Hi, me, Nana, Opa, Bruno, Cassie, and Lori all came to help you.
Oh, go away. Leave me in my misery.
No, we're all here to help you, honey. Can we help, Larry?
No.
Yeah, how would you like us to help you?
Go away.
No, how can we help you? We really want to help you. How can we help?
Fix it, and I'll take the kid and the dog for a walk.